right, Florida State. 10-6 Florida State last year, picking at number 20. They finished second in the ACC. Florida State's been a tough one to predict over the years. They've had some really good seasons and some really low seasons. They kind of bounce back and forth. Um, I think it all hinges on how consistent that offense is, especially the quarterback, Jim Kelly. I think he had a monster season, and so hopefully he can keep that going. Because what they did in this draft was first round they really wanted to protect him and add an offensive lineman, to keep him upright. And so they took Harry Klein, the right tackle, and he's one of the only zero vol guys I've seen, at least in the first couple rounds that I graded. Anytime you get a zero vol guy, you're basically hoping and that the player card's going to look pretty similar after training camp, and you can't really ask for much more than that. So let's break him down. The right tackle, he's got good feet. Like I always talk about, I like good feet on my tackles. 63 speed, 63 acceleration, that's good. Really good strength for a lineman, 93. Anytime you get in the 90s, you're talking to me, and I really like it. Unfortunately, I don't like his discipline, 56. That's a little low. It's not going to be a killer, but once you start getting into the mid numbers, I tend to see more penalties, and that gets me a little bit nervous. And that could be a drive killer later on, but I won't fault him too much for that, just because it's 56. It's not going to be like in the 20s or teens, something like that I've had before. He's a good road grading run blocker, so I think he's going to fit really nice on the right side, just because you're going to see, especially with those strong between the tackle runs that go to the right side. I think that he'll be able to pave the way, for the running back over there that they got last year. Unfortunately, he's a little bit lower than I like on pass blocking. I tend to like guys with, at least 80, but 85. When you get below 80, I start getting dicey. But you never know. This could be a guy that plays better than that rating. But 79 on his future. Pass blocking is a little bit low for a first-round pick. He is also a type of guy that I've had a lot of success with at guard. So if he doesn't, if he starts off slow and giving up a lot of sacks at right tackle, he might be a perfect candidate to slide inside and play guard, and he could probably excel at that. But nice, solid pick, low vol. I know Florida State's had some bad luck with some high vols in drafts in the first round, and so I think that kind of helped them make this decision a little bit easier. And then in the second round, they decided to go completely the opposite way. They took the FCS transfer Michael Henrich. I really like Henrich. He's a little bit hard to manage as a player. He has some off the field stuff, attitude problems, and that goes with his 98 volatility. But if you look at just the raw numbers of his ratings, he's got 70 speed, which is great for a defensive end. Anytime you're getting into the 70s, 80s, then you're really got a guy that can get after the quarterback, especially with high acceleration like 76. So he's got good gets, and he's going to be able to get to the quarterback, especially with the 92 strength. So you look at his physical traits, and right there he clicks all the boxes. And his tackle, this is a key to this guy, because tackle, even though he's a high vol, he's already got a current tackle of 62. So his future is 88, but his current 62. So there's a lot less room for him to go down if he doesn't boom. So I still think he'll be a solid player even if he doesn't boom with this high vol, just because he'll still have some tackle to go with those physical traits. Unfortunately, his pass rush and his run defense are both mid-70s or low to mid-70s, and those will actually go way down if he does not boom in training camp. But on the flip side, if he does boom, and he could very well boom in both of these categories, pass rush and run defense could max out at 100. And losing, star defensive end Stephen Volkman to the transfer or graduation, they really had a hole to fill at Florida State, and I think they took a good chance on a player that has so much upside. Heinrich, he could bust and be a serviceable player, but if he booms, he's going to be a top tier type talent, and who better to replace Volkman with somebody than a guy like Henrich, who could be very similar type of player to Volkman. A good job. Sloth gave Florida State a B minus, as well as I did, just because for me, I didn't. I thought that the tackle in the first round, if you're going to get a guy that high, I want a guy that has a little bit better blocking, especially pass blocking skills. But he ticks all the other boxes. But that was my only concern with Klein. And I really like Henrik. I think there's a lot of upside to him, but he's so risky that it kind of got me a little bit nervous. So I gave him the B minus. But I do think that they got two contributing players that should make an impact.